up, guys? Welcome back to another episode here at R&D. Today we are putting the final touches on the garage before we can start any of our projects in here. Do me a favor though, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. That way you get notifications anytime we upload new content. Stick around, it's going to be an awesome day. All right, you guys see that metal bracket up there on top of the door right there? Okay, so when I moved in here, it was like that. It had gotten bent up from too much force on the bracket, or something bad happened. If you guys look right there, see that bend in the metal? So I beat most of what I could out of the door to straighten it all back out. I went up to Home Depot, bought this angle bracket right here, and I measured it for center, found center on it, and then screwed it to the door. That really straightened it out. See, whenever I would close the door, there would be a huge air gap at the top because it was pushed inward. So here, let's go ahead and shut the door. You guys will see. Whoa, look at that. That's pretty tight. We got a little light here on this corner and then a little bit down there on that corner. So what I did was I put some seal around the door. I'll take you guys outside. Well, let's just open the door so you can see. The other way, the other up. There we go. All right. So I went ahead and I bought some door seal for garage doors, and then as you can see I also had to caulk around it because what it was as I anchored it down I still had light escaping between each screw. So I went ahead and ran a bead of caulk all the way around the door, and that really helped with the light escape. Anytime there's light escaping, there is air escaping. So say I have heat or air conditioning on in here, yeah, it would be escaping. So I adjusted the door opener in order to open further, because at first I couldn't even fit my truck in here. It was too tall. So there's a little potentiometer on the motor for how far up I was able to get an extra, like, I'd say 3 or 4 inches out of the door, which is quite a bit. And then also for air conditioning and heat, I replaced the threshold on the door here, that rubber strip at the bottom. Let's see what else we got. We are back. Earlier this week I picked this up. I got it off of Craigslist rather than going and buying it from Home Depot or Lowe's. The thing was it was brand new in the box. The box is a little shredded up and stuff like that. But essentially, if you open it up and like looking at all the heat exchangers and stuff on it, it looks brand new. Everything, the fan inside looks brand new. Everything. So it's a brand new unit. It was just in a roughed up box. It is missing a couple pieces. I'm guessing that fell out of the box from the previous owner. So I'm gonna have to get a piece of angle in order to mount this. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, you don't have any windows in this place, so how the heck are you gonna do that? That's where this comes into play. So what I did was I took the width and height measurements as you saw, and went to the hardware store to get a door. The thing was before I left, what I actually did was measured from the top of the door to the center of my deadbolt and top of the door to the center of the knob, as well as the top of the door to the center of each hinge. And it's a good thing I did that because well, here's the thing. At first I was thinking about cutting a hole in this door, and then before I go move out, just go buy these guys a brand new door and put it in. Well, it's a good thing I did that because I don't know where the heck they got this door, because there is nothing in that entire store that matches the dimensions of this door. Whether it's just a loose door or whether it's a pre-hung door in a frame, they don't have anything there that matches these dimensions. Because at first, I was just gonna buy a door and a set of cheap hinges and maybe a cheap lock and stuff like that, put that stuff together and just pull the pins out of the hinges, hang my door with a hole in it, and be done with it. But the thing is none of it, like this, doesn't even match this. They're off a bit, which you can see. So we only got like 2 inches there, but right here there's like 4 inches difference. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of putting a knob and stuff in there, I'm just gonna anchor my door in there with a hole in it to hang the air conditioner. I got a couple of brackets to offset the weight. So these will be mounted on the outside of the door to keep the weight off of the sheet metal frame of this, as well as the door a little bit. You know, because if it's all that weight hanging back on there, it's going to be a lot of force. So did that, but the other thing is there's no 240 volts over here. Now, right behind where you guys are sitting on the camera, right behind you is a plug for the dryer. That's 240 volt, three wire 240. So I went and bought a new 3-prong plug, as well as junction boxes, receptacles, stuff like that, in order for me to basically make an extension. So there will be a junction box over there for the dryer, and a cord. So I went and bought 25 feet of SJO cord. You can buy this by the foot at Home Depot. I can't remember the price of it, but for this amount of wire, I think it was 50 bucks or so, 50 or 60 bucks. So I'm gonna run a cord all the way over here, which will power the air conditioner, because this is 240 volt, as well as if I get an air compressor. If I get an air compressor, it'll power that as well. This is 10 gauge wire, and all the components in here I made sure are good for 30 amps. So that way, the thing is if you're sizing electrical systems, you want them to all be sized appropriately, so you're not burning stuff up. So this is going to be a huge undertaking. This is going to be a big project, kind of. So let's get started. Alright, so as you can see, obviously I just got done cutting the hole. Something else I'm also doing is, so I'm going to have to screw this into the door jamb. So what I'm doing is I'm marking an inch over, so they're evenly spaced all the way down. So I'm marking an inch over, so what I'm going to do is each one of these I'm going to go in and then at an angle to where it comes out in the center of the sideboard on it. So I'm going to do that all the way down. just pre-drilling all these to make it easy. If I try to do this with just screws, man, this would suck so bad. nervous. It was like the first minute or two, it was blowing out just warm air. I'm assuming that it had a delay timer for kicking the compressor on or something like that. Once the compressor kicked on, it's really cold air now. Go ahead and use this stuff, polyfoam backer rod. This is the insulation I was talking about earlier. Went ahead and filled in around the sides, the bottom, and the top, because there's a big gap. Later on, I'm going to come back, later on, probably tomorrow, I'll go ahead and seal it inside and out as well to keep as much cold air as possible in. I still have to patch these holes. Obviously, they're not being used because they didn't line up with anything. You can see here's our striker plate right here, and the doorknob's all the way down here. So you get what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to put a plate over that on the front and the back. Go ahead and insulate the inside of it. Also, there's a big gap down at the bottom of the door that I need to put a board or fill it with foam or do something. I might shove a bunch of this in there, but it's a big gap. I don't think this will work very well. This one thing I was pretty amped about is this. It came with a wireless remote. I had this remote sitting over there on my washer first, which is where I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it over by the door. That way I can just come into the garage, grab the remote, turn on the air conditioner, and get the garage cooling down before I come out here or whatever. But the cool thing is I was over there next to the washing machine and the remote stuck to it. Apparently this has magnets in it, which is really cool. So you can hang it anywhere. So I'm just going to hang it over there next to the door coming out of the kitchen into the garage. But as far as it's concerned right now, this job's pretty much done except for sealing the extra holes and stuff. Other than that, we're good to go. Man, it's so nice to have air conditioning in here. Alright guys, well, we got air conditioning, but one of the biggest problems with air conditioning is fighting heat, right? Well, this thing has so much heat that comes off of it, it's not funny. So, I told you guys that those boxes had something to do with this episode, didn't I? What these are is a garage insulation kit. Basically a bunch of styrofoam panels. So what that's going to do, that's going to help us really keep a lot of the hot air, the heat out and keep our cold air in, right? So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, there's 6 holes right here. I have a split right here from whatever happened to this door. It kind of tore the metal right here. So obviously I beat it back into shape most of the way, but there's still a split in the steel there, and there's one right here where it looks like somebody hit it with something. So first things first, I'm going to take all of those holes over, all the splits over, and then we'll get busy insulating. Let's do it.